Hi everyone, thanks for joining the Serverless London Meetup. I hope you can hear me okay. Today we've got three amazing talks. We've got Quentin from Gamercraft talking about how to use serverless to build an esports gaming startup. Then we have Veluswa talking about how to use talking about her journey to the cloud and about serverless at Standard Bank South Africa. And then finally we have Farrah Campbell from Stackery talking about leveling up with serverless. Thanks for joining the meetup. As mentioned, my name's Ben. I work at Theodore, which is a startup that helps other companies launch digital products, especially in serverless. And we're very happy to be helping to organize this meetup along with Ant from Senzo. Our first talk is going to be from Quentin from Gamercraft. So Ant, if you can switch the stream, I think we can switch over and Quentin can talk about serverless and esports in a startup.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Quentin Rosso. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Gamercraft. And today I will be basically presenting you what our effort implementing this technology into our company.
Okay, I'm going to turn. Okay.
Okay. So we are going to so first, Gamercraft is an esports premium tournament ecosystem. We basically create more rewarding competitive gaming experiences for users, and serverless is a cornerstone of our strategy. So first, it comes from a user need we found. We have interviewed over 1,100 gamers, and these are the main themes that come about. First, as a user, it's really hard to join tournaments today. So let's say you play on League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Valorant, etc. Well, third-party run tournament, let's say run by Red Bull or by AMD or Microsoft, are right now not as professionally run as the in-game tournaments. And so what we do is we basically internalize that organizational process. First, another issue is there's a lot of toxicity and cheating happening in game. So we build our solution around that to tackle that issue. And finally, price pools are not high or motivating enough. So basically, we want to reward amateur gamers as much as pros. So we basically built an Android and iOS mobile app that cater both to PC and console gamers. But before we actually went into that development, we had a choice to make. And that choice was between going with a more legacy stack like Django or a more, let's say, cutting-edge technology, 2020 technology like AWS Lambda and the AWS and the serverless framework. So we went with serverless. Why going with serverless? So there is a couple of reasons. The first one is less painful scale-ups. Serverless means we use managed services for everything and never think about physical machines. It's typically a costly migration when you do a scale-up, but with serverless, it makes it much easier to implement, and it's better for us in the future. And finally, it scales almost infinitely. So it's good for the company's valuation, for investors, and for any stakeholders that has requirement regarding our scalability. It's also less performance bottleneck when there's a surge in traffic. So it's the time to scale the Lambda versus the time to scale an EC2. Well, it's way faster to do the Lambda. And there's also less database scalability constraints. In terms of database, the problem with SQL is we have limited concurrent connections. This becomes a performance bottleneck when we have a surge in traffic. So then there's, for us, no limitation in scalability of DynamoDB. Also, we also have more computing power for lower cost. So that's one of the most well-known reason why people move to serverless. We also have an easier, seamless integration of the AWS products. And finally, a more reliable architecture. So basically, when you use AWS products, you're going to be redundant on many different computers in the AWS data centers, as opposed to rent to do nothing. So it's a lot more reliable with uptime and runtime on our end. Our stack is really embedded in the offering of AWS. We use Lambda, DynamoDB, EventBridge, SNS for push notifications and our phone number validation, Cognito, etc. An API gateway because we're a mobile application. Architecture. So architecture is fairly simple. We have, it's always about a DynamoDB table with a S3 bucket and a few Lambda orchestrated with by a step function. We actually have a couple of services. So here you can see we have a notification service. We notify a user when a tournament is starting, when the tournament has ended, when they got invited into a team. We have a user service that manages all of the users' information in the app. We have a match services, a tournament services with it. So we organize brackets of the matches, the tournament, etc. We have a team service. So that was a fairly recent features a couple of months ago users actually wanted. So we did it. So we created a more elaborate team management ecosystem where people can get drafted and join teams. And finally, a prize service to redeem prizes in a timely manner. So our user flow is fairly simple. So we're actually on a beta test right now, a closed beta test. But people find a tournament, they draft their team, they win rounds of matches. So semi-final, final, etc. on a single elimination bracket. And then they play the games. So one thing that is really cool about that integration is we integrate directly with the game publishers. So let's say we started with League of Legends. We want to get the scores in real time. We want to open a game in real time. We actually can automatically, we can generate a game code for a tournament. They can put that game code in the client and play the game. Everything that happens in the game after the game is recorded directly to our application. So there is no input needed from the user to actually record the game scores. Okay, so one thing that we really love is, and I give some examples, is our step functions. Our step functions, as you may know, are really good for event-driven architectures. So we do have an event-driven architectures. We use this because most of our events are time-based. So for example, we are running a tournament tomorrow at 9 p.m. We have, let's say, 16 teams of 5 people per team, and these people want to we first actually going to create a tournament. We're going to notify the tournament is starting, generate the brackets, do a random seeding of the brackets, and finally generate the matches and the game codes are connected with a League of Legends client. We also verify the games. So we, if we check every 15 minutes if the team is still in the game, if still in the lobby, and we check whether or not they should forfeit. So we have, that's a great use case for these state machines. So before we went into serverless, and you might have known about these issues, we actually faced a couple of things. We heard from people saying, no, it's going to be hard in terms of testing, monitoring, it's difficult, hard to automate. It's also very difficult. Then by first, we love Farrah. We use it for debugging and observability, and I will touch upon it a bit later. To tackle the developer environment issue is we every developer automatically creates their own environment in AWS. each environment is completely isolated from the rest, leveraging CloudFormation stacks. And finally, we encourage our hires to follow the certification tracks and provide them mentoring and coaching. But again, all of this is work in progress. There's so much more stuff we can do, and we're really excited about it. Product and technical observability. So basically, we use Farrah for end-to-end debugging for our lambdas. How do we leverage it? We use it for tech support where a tournament is happening. So let's say we're running a tournament, there are matches going on, live scores being reported, etc. We will actually use Farrah for when there's a bug reported by a user to directly recognize what bug, what might be the source, and then tackle it into a story, a user story in the next couple of bugs, the next couple of hours or days. And we also have a direct integration of Discord where we get real-time bug reporting and failures on the lambdas. And finally, we get also weekly and monthly cost estimates easily understood by our business teams. So that gives us great visibility on our cost, our code start time, which right now is fairly good. And and basically everything like this. So we have also customers. We also use Retool. So for people who may not know about Retool, it's a UI. It's a tool to build quick dashboards or quick forms or quick dashboards for internal stakeholders, our employees, to actually connect to APIs, do any crude actions on Lambda on DynamoDB. So it's really well connected to DynamoDB. I really advise using this tool. And we also get data reporting directly to our boards, which is really useful for our administrative team to administrate the tournaments and get real-time information. I would like to thank our team that has been with us, Ambroise, Laurent, Alex Zebutri, Sarah Milton, and Ben Ellerby, who actually gave us great advice on how to proceed, because serverless is fairly new. There's not enough information out there, not enough training, and I think it's great that there are communities like this supporting this new trend. And we're also hiring. We're based in Boston, but we also want to hire in Europe. That's it.
Thanks, Quentin, for that talk. Actually, I'm just getting the message that I'm muted, so trying to undo that. I hope you can hear me okay. Thanks, Quentin, for that talk. I'm sorry the connection broke in the middle, but really interesting to see the journey Gamercraft's been on, the technology is being used, and as Quentin mentioned, they are hiring. And next, we're going to go to Veliswa for her talk. Veliswa is a cloud engineer at Standard Bank South Africa and is also an AWS community hero. So, Ant, if you can switch your stream over, we can hear from Veliswa.
Hi everyone, thank you for inviting me here today. I'm Veliswa Boya, I'm a cloud engineer. I work for a bank here in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm also an AWS community hero. So there I was, in the middle of yet another role change. I have just moved from what's viewed as not a technical background or technical role into what is quite a technical role. I come from being a business analyst and I'm moving into a solutions architect role. So I'm quite overwhelmed. I am quite nervous and I am wanting to prove myself and how do I make a mark for myself here? And at around the same time, I'm starting to hear a lot about cloud and the various cloud service providers. What's on offer for organizations, how cloud helps organizations digitally transform themselves and provide better products to their customers at a faster pace. And I'm also hearing about what cloud offers to in terms of cloud of opportunities. And because I've always looked to make sure that I've got a skill set that's relevant, all of this is very interesting to me. So I quickly opened an AWS account. I wanted to start experimenting with the services and to see what is actually on offer here. At the same time, I'm watching countless webinars, reading up, following people who are talking about the topics that I'm wanting to learn about, just trying all I can to try and take in all of this information and learn all I can. So I had my account, so I started experimenting with the services just to see what's there. After doing this for a while, I thought maybe I should validate what I think I know. I also thought that doing a course will help give me that end-to-end view of everything. And that was me then, signing up with a cloud guru. I took up a course, Certified Solutions Architect Associate. All my preparation started towards my certification then. And I was amazed by how the concepts were explained to me in a way that made sense. Although I was still coming from what I was viewing as, what's viewed as not technical, and thinking I'm really going to struggle. I found the course to be very well paced, that it actually took me through everything I needed to know quite well. My date was booked, and the date arrived, and I went and I wrote, and I passed first attempt. That was wow feeling for me. I made it, and now I even want to get stuck in this even more than I did before. At the time, my role did not involve cloud, so during the day it was normal job, doing normal things. Anything that I wanted to do in terms of cloud had to be after hours. When I get home and I've sorted my life out, then I could open my laptop and start building things or watching webinars or reading or whatever it is that I needed to do so that I can learn this. So where does serverless fit in all of this? I actually, even my bio on Twitter says, I'm a serverless enthusiast, and I am. And why am I? It is because coming across something that offloads a lot of the operational work onto someone else and leaving me to do just what I need to do was very exciting for me. Such an exciting prospect for me. And at the time, I was also learning Python. And so, wow, there's a service called Lambda. You can just bring your code onto Lambda and off you go. No provisioning from your side, none of that. Exciting. So where do I start? What side project, what serverless side project did I start with? I started where I think most of us probably start when we are learning serverless. Your serverless website hosted in S3. All I needed was S3 bucket to host my static content, and I had a DynamoDB for the dynamic content, and a Lambda that retrieved this for me, and that was that. And I could put together applications, I could put together solutions that worked. Since then, I've experimented and done things using other services as well. And I attended a talk, with all meetups going online. I attended a talk that was on EventBridge. I hadn't looked into EventBridge up until that time. At around the same time, I had been invited to give a talk somewhere else, and I was going to talk about logging and monitoring on AWS. And within there, I was talking about CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and Config, CloudWatch, touching on events as well, and how events and CloudWatch events and EventBridge are so closely related that your EventBridge is your upgrade of CloudWatch events. Although they work off the same API, you get a lot more better features of EventBridge. It's been all of that exposure for me, and it's been such an exciting journey for me. And the innovation around this is so exciting, and there's always a new thing to learn. There's always new services being provided so that we can go and build all these exciting applications. And where am I now? I had been promising myself for a while that I'm going to try out Amplify. So the other day I installed everything I need so that I can go and try out Amplify. And that's where I am now. And it is still so exciting for me. It is just all that I'm learning, and the possibilities that I'm seeing really do excite me. So that is me, and it's been an exciting journey. And what I also enjoy being part of the AWS community and the support that you get here. And it's been awesome just to know that if I get stuck anywhere, or if I'm looking for anything, there are people to call on, and they are always willing and available to help me. It's been awesome, and I'm still looking forward to see everything that I will get to learn and all the things that I will get to be involved in. It's quite exciting for me to look forward to. Thank you again. Hi everyone, thank you for inviting me here today. I'm Velu Saboya. I'm a cloud engineer. I work for a bank here in South Africa. I'm also an AWS community hero. So there I was, in the middle of yet another role change.
Hey everyone.
I have just moved
yes,
from
Ant here from the Serverless London user group. I've got Elisa with us, I think. Okay, so we're using a new streaming system, and we have audio today, except the bit where I don't think Elisa and I can hear each other. Elisa, can you hear me?
Is that me?
Yeah. Kill your YouTube stream, and you should be able to hear me. Okay, we can hear you.
And at around the same time, I'm starting to hear a lot about
Getting a loop there.
the various cloud service providers. What's on offer for organizations? How cloud helps organizations digitally transform themselves and provide better products.
Okay, can you hear us, Felicia?
At a faster pace. And I'm also hearing about
okay, cool. We can all hear each other. Great. I just don't know if Felicia can hear me.
Of opportunities. And because I've always looked to make sure that I've got a skill set that's relevant, all of this is very interesting.
So I just wanted to quickly chat to Felicia, ask her about, actually I want to ask her very specifically about Honeycode. I know it's not something she covered in the talk because it was only announced this week by AWS. And but Felicia wrote a great blog post earlier this week on Honeycode. So yeah, Felicia, so what are your initial thoughts on Honeycode? Because it got released and then, I realize we've still got a problem here.
So I started experimenting with the services just to see
I believe the talk's for looping audio.
Doing this for a while, I thought maybe I should validate what I think I know.
Apologies, everyone.
That doing a course will help give me that end-to-end view of everything. And that was me then signing up with a cloud.
Okay, can everyone hear me now?
Course,
is the audio done?
Architect Associate.
Okay. So,
started
yeah, Felicia, I just wanted to quickly chat to you about Honeycode and what your thoughts are on Honeycode.
I was amazed by how the concepts were explained to me.
Because, yeah, it was released last week, and a day after release, you already built an application with it. For those who don't know, AWS Honeycode is Amazon Web Services' new low-code offering. So obviously, you abstracted more and more away from operations with low-code, even more so than serverless. So Honeycode looks interesting. I heard people call it basically next iteration of Access. So And Velisa is one of the first people to have done anything with it. So yeah, it's interested to hear Velisa's thoughts on Honeycode.
First attempt. That was wow feeling for me. I made it, and now I even want to get stuck
I don't know how delayed we are.
this even more than I did before.
Velisa?
At the time,
Velisa
my
can't hear
role
me, I
did
don't
not
think.
involve cloud. So during the day, it was normal job, doing normal things. Anything that I wanted to do in terms of cloud had to be
The audio is still there, even though I killed it.
when I get home.
That's
and I've
amazing.
sorted my life out.
How's it doing
and I
that?
could open my laptop
Hang on a sec.
and start.
Move this over again. Okay. We cannot kill this audio. The audio is dead. Yes. Very excited. Okay. We've once again proven that I should not be a video engineer of any kind. Lisa, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think Lisa can hear me. Hang on. Cool. Okay, can you hear me, Velisa? We're gonna get there.
Hi, Ian.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, so the first rule of streaming platforms is to practice with it more than a few hours before. Okay, so I'm going to go back to saying what I said earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, so the question I had for you was around Honeycode. So AWS Honeycode was released last week. You were one of the first people to put a blog post out on it, literally a day later. And yeah, I'm just interested to hear what your thoughts on it, because it's an interesting platform. I've heard people compare it to Microsoft Access, which has been around for 20, 30 years. What are your thoughts on Honeycode? Do you think it'll be adopted in enterprise? I see it maybe being used quite a lot for internal tooling, but not necessarily for external apps. What are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts on it?
What actually grabbed me the most about Honeycode is that the fact that it can be used by people who don't know how to write code. And it's no code. You can go and develop your own apps. You don't need to wait for your dev team to do all the development for you. And I think what happened is that it took me back to when I used to work on mainframes, writing simple apps that I think if tools like this were already available, it wouldn't have been necessary that I do all of that writing of very simple applications. And that's what caught me about it. There were very mixed views about it on the internet when you were checking. I think a lot of the devs didn't understand what is this thing. But I think for me, it was more like, it's not for devs. It's to empower those who sometimes sit around waiting for devs to help them. So that, for me, was the biggest interest. It empowers those people. And I've had a lot of feedback from mainly project managers. They want to check it out and see if they can actually build their own workflows into it. Those are the main people that are talking about it, and they are also very interested to check it out. So that was the whole Honeycode thing for me.
Awesome. I think one of those. So my history, I think about 22 years ago, I built applications using Microsoft Access. I don't want to admit it, but I just have. I remember one of the biggest issues with all these Access-based applications is that they end up being files that just got distributed everywhere, and a big part of the shadow IT problem that people would have. So you have some core business application running on the Access database somewhere that only the person person or the 1 or 2 users who used it actually knew about it. IT never knew about it. At least with Honeycode, because it's all be centralized within Amazon Web Services, and so excuse my dog. Because it'll be centralized within Amazon Web Services, it'll be in a place that that IT can control and actually be aware about and put some governance on it. Sorry about that. What are your thoughts around the governance and just kind of where the low code, because low code is for a long time. What are your thoughts about how this differs from what we were doing 20, 30 years ago and how it's an improvement?
I think the other features that it comes with. I know when I wrote the blog, I did say that there is so much. It's a lot richer in features compared to what I think we had 20 years ago or 15 years ago. I think the key is going to be to explore what those features are, because you sometimes miss out on the power that this has and what this provides you if not exploring other features. I think also, like you said, because it's going to be centralized, it's on AWS, there will be a view of it. So it won't really go missing. But I think the main thing is going to be to go and explore what actually does this offer you, because then it just becomes another tool that's there. If you don't get to see everything that it provides you, you lose interest, you don't explore anymore, and it just sits there. So that's going to be the main thing.
Okay, awesome. So to kind of move slightly off Honeycode. So you work for Standard Bank in South Africa. So I'm South African as well, and I think we both worked for Business Connection at some point. I don't think we overlapped, but I was in the Durban office. And how do you think cloud's going to change the way people do business in South Africa? Because South Africa been a late adopter to cloud. For various reasons, it's got its own Amazon region there now, and there's an Azure region there as well. What are your thoughts on how cloud's going to change the way people work in Africa? And do you see it being a rapid adoption, or do you see it something that's going to take quite a while for people to adopt?
From what I've seen so far, the excitement is definitely very much there. I think the main thing is governance. This is new, so you don't know how it impacts a lot of the things, especially I find in banks, because there's so much regulation around banks as it is. How does this now fit into how we still align to all the regulations that are out there? I think once those catch up with the tech, it's going to be a lot better. But I think for the person on the street, me and other engineers and all of those people, the opportunities that this provides for us as engineers, there is so much that is now available for you that you can go and run with your own career. There's opportunities for collaboration between startups and other companies and just people in the community in general. And that's what, for me, is the key. I know there were a lot of people here, or big companies, that were waiting for the regions to land, the AWS Cape Town region to land. And it's here now. And I can see already that there's so much more excitement to want to catch on to this and migrate to the cloud.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you've just said about there being more opportunity is quite relevant, because like you've just become an AWS community hero because of the work you're doing in the community in South Africa, and I think that's a fantastic recognition. But that community is still so small and young, and it gives an opportunity for people who want to put their effort in to be part of a bigger global community, which is amazing. You've been a hero for what, about a month now, I think, just under?
It's a month, yeah.
Just over a month?
It's a month.
Yeah. So how are you finding that? How are you finding being able to reach out to other heroes? Have you been part of any of the hero briefings yet or anything like that?
I've been, and it's been awesome, actually. When I talk on live chats like this and people ask me about it, I try and stay calm, but I'm really excited about it. Just the access that it gives me as well. and the other heroes, we've got our own platforms where all the heroes meet and we chat about things.
Yeah.
It is so surreal to be part of it. I think even this for me it's very exciting, just that you can access so much more. It's really wow. And what I'm seeing as well, how it's inspiring others back here to really want to be part of the community, that, oh my word, all of this is available. And all this access, all this collaboration, all these people, I can have this space to share what I know and I can learn from this space. I think it's awesome.
Oh, that's good. That's one thing I've definitely appreciated about cloud is that how you work and people you work with is not really is no longer restricted to the physical geographic area. When if you look at this meetup now, we've got yourself who's sitting in Johannesburg, we've got Quentin who's in Boston, we've got Farrah who's in Portland, and myself and Ben in London. And we're all part of this global organization and global community. I think particularly within cloud as well, you've got the kind of sub-communities of which serverless is one of them. In terms of speaking serverless particularly, what do you appreciate about serverless? Because you're new to cloud in the last 2 years, and then obviously serverless is such a different way of working. You said before you used to work with mainframes. Like this journey you've gone on, what do you find so great about serverless in particular?
For me, the biggest thing was the not needing to provision infrastructure. I don't come from an infrastructure background. I don't come from a networking background. I remember when I was preparing for my certifications, I know the networking part where you spin up VPCs and all of that was the most challenging for me, because that's a world that I've never seen before. And now you come onto serverless, Lambda, you just bring your own code. You don't have to worry about provisioning infrastructure and all that auto scaling and the cost as well that you only charge when your code executes. It's a big, powerful thing for me. And that has been the excitement. What I've been doing a lot now is to try to explore the other services that are available, see how I can put services together to build applications and to build solutions. And that whole process of exploring all of that is quite exciting, and all the stuff that you learn and things that you build. And yeah.
Okay, awesome. Just checking to see if Farrah is ready. Is she ready? Why is technology so hard? Okay. We've got about 20 different platforms, and obviously I'm communicating on the wrong one. Cool. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I think one quick kind of last question. At Standard Bank itself, are you adopting serverless? Is it something you just at a evaluation stage, or are you just building a few kind of test platforms with it? Is it just something you're evaluating right now? Where do you find where would you say you are on the service journey at Standard Bank?
We've got pockets in the bank. It's such a big organization. There are areas that are quite well advanced in their adoption, and there are areas that are just using it for your ops side of things. I think it varies depending on what team is in. But there definitely is a lot of awareness. I know I've been in a lot of meetings where it will come up, whether we're discussing Amplify or whatever it is. So there definitely is adoption.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's sometimes hard to see what the adoption of a technology is when you're so far away from it. I still can't get hold of Farrah. I know Farrah is ready, but she's not ready, if that makes sense. We'll get there. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so I think quickly, just see where Farrah is. Okay, so we're almost ready with Farrah. Good. This is really hard. I was going to ask you quickly. I cannot multitask for the life of me. Okay, so I think that's been great. So okay. So let's go to. Is Farrah ready yet? Nope, not yet. I was going to quickly ask. I forgot what I was going to ask. How are you finding? How are you finding lockdown in South Africa? Because I know it's been a lot stricter than other parts of the world, and then in particular, not just lockdown, but the whole this scene of the online meetups. I know you've been involved in a couple now. You've been talking about a variety of things. Do you enjoy being part of? Well, enjoy is a strange word. No one enjoys being locked in, but the benefit of being able to have so many online meetups. Like we normally wouldn't have this online. So, what are your thoughts about sitting in South Africa and then having access to so much stuff internationally?
I think that was an awesome part. I know you just said we shouldn't be saying enjoying, but I shouldn't be saying awesome. Okay, what's the best thing that I can actually get out of this? And I think I started out saying I want to do a meetup in every continent. That was just a thing that I set up for myself in the beginning. And but I found there were meetups that I kept going back to because I was just enjoying the whole atmosphere and everything. But yes, for me, just being able to access all these groups and meet new people and make new friends, that's been the best part about it. With everything else that's going on, I think that's the best that I can actually take out of the entire thing.
Yeah, it has been good. I think we've followed each other for a little bit on Twitter. My dog's back. Other people have children walking in on them. I have my dogs. If anyone follows me on Twitter or on Instagram, I have dogs. Okay, cool. So Farrah's ready. We're going to pass over to Farrah. It's been great to chat. We were going to do a Q&A after this, but I don't think we are now, purely because of apparently there's been some sound issues. So I'm going to hand over to Farrah. It's been great to chat. Hopefully we'll chat to you soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Wow, this is also slow. Where's Farrah? See Farrah to come back.
Can everybody hear me? Awesome. Okay. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Farrah. I am from Portland, Oregon, and I'm very excited to be here with everybody virtually. I definitely would prefer to be there in person. It would be very nice to get out of the States right about now. Thank you very much to the organizers for inviting me to come talk to everybody today about empowering careers with serverless. I hope that this inspires you or that you at least get something from it. So a bit about me. I am the mom of 2 adultish boys, and I have a cat named D'Angelo. I would consider myself a startup enthusiast. Stackery is my 5th startup, I think now. And currently I am the Alliances and Ecosystems Director at Stackery. And I'm also an AWS Serverless hero. You might notice that when I say that, I can't say it without a sense of shock. When I look around at the peers, my peers within the hero group, their resumes and their experience is far more advanced than mine. It was just 6 years ago when I actually broke into tech. Started off at a startup as an office manager. Through the years at different startups, I worked my way up to director of operations. This is having no background I had barely any understanding of what anyone was saying. In fact, I actually stopped a meeting once and asked who Jason and Cassandra were. So how did I find serverless? After my last role was ending, the founders of Stackery approached me with an opportunity for a role that they wanted to create for me. And my goal would be to connect with people across AWS and the serverless ecosystem, working to make connections, working to build up the community, and to gain further adoption and growth. And for those of you that do not know what Stackery is, it's essentially a platform that enables teams to create applications from front end to back end with AWS managed services. Whether that means you are virtually whiteboarding, whether you're developing and debugging Lambda functions locally, you can build automated CI/CD workflows, create ephemeral sandbox environments for vulnerability scanning and testing. Essentially, you can design, develop, deliver AWS applications securely and quickly. I love serverless right from the start. And the reasons why, the first one is my team. This team interviewed me, or many of the people on this team, had interviewed me at the time for a role that I had never done before. And they took a chance on me. Not only did they take a chance on me, they supported me and helped me obtain goals, and really, helped me to get where I am today. This team is diligent, they're focused, they are diverse in backgrounds and skill sets. And again, they're just incredibly supportive. Another reason why I love serverless, it was a new ecosystem. I'm now at a new startup. I know that there's going to be many opportunities to grow and, spread my wings, and that's definitely exciting to me. I also really love the focus on, providing value and ensuring that what you were working on was solving a problem, a true challenge for the business. What you wouldn't be doing is working on the maintenance or the operations of underlying compute resources. Another thing that really stood out to me is Stackery was a team, was about 10 there. And half the team was women, and the engineering team, half the team was women. And this stood out to me because at all the other startups I've been at, this has just not been my experience. I typically was the only female, and so this was incredibly exciting for me. And then you meet the community, and the community is accepting, it's welcoming, and I have not met a gatekeeper yet. We all seem to be sharing our experiences, talking about the pitfalls that we're finding, talking about wins we're achieving, really just working to learn and grow with one another. Sorry, I need to take a drink. So I could tell you what serverless is, and the technical aspects of serverless are important. But this is a paradigm shift in engineering. The work that generated many tech careers is now hidden behind a growing menu of cloud services. With that comes a host of fears, focus on limitations, focus on complexity, but it's also a chance to learn, to level up your skills, and to grow. This blog post, serverless is a state of mind. The point of serverless is focused. It's how you make your decisions. It's not about your choices. You want to make sure your decisions are focused on the value that you're creating. This really stood out to me and made me want to do serverless, because I realized that I was using the same mindset in my personal life. I've been a single mom for most of my life, so every single minute is important. As I'm working to raise the boys, have them at practices, and grow my career. So I'm always looking for opportunities where I can outsource, eliminate, and streamline any of the tasks. I'm always rethinking, re-architecting, reallocating, and rethinking my plan again. So with that, I now have this mindset. So I definitely think that, maybe I can build serverless apps. I'm going to serverless now. So I start to look for tutorials in Stackery, and the reason why is that this will allow me to learn about Stackery, Serverless, and AWS all at the same time. I started with the Wild Rides tutorial, which is a unicorn ride sharing platform. But then I decided that I wanted to move on to something that would actually help me with some of my tasks. And I found a webhook tutorial. And I'm just noticing that I have the old image in here, not the one with the completed work. But anyhow, this is the webhook build. What I did with this is I generated an OAuth refresh token, so I could listen for information in my emails and then drop that into Google Sheets to build organizational charts. I had zero idea how hard generating an OAuth refresh token was going to be, nor how long it was going to take me, and how often I think I was going to throw my computer. It definitely gave me a headache, but what it also gave me was really robust organizational charts. It saved me about 4 hours a week from just reading my emails and trying to pull that information myself. I was able to run my own marketing A/B tests, and honestly, I kind of felt it was cool to feel like a nerd, and that I was expanding my tech capabilities. Did I think I could do this halfway into the project? Definitely not. This project became bigger than I initially expected. I think there was multiple cuss words and a lot of Googling errors one by one. And I really feel like that's what development is now. It's just that you just keep Googling errors one by one, and then you fix it, and then you go start to work on something else, and then something else breaks, and you got to try to figure out what that is. But once it does get working, that feels really amazing. It felt really good to get it to work after it just seemed so unachievable, just a couple days before. So now I have a bit of confidence, and I want to take my learning to the next level. So I reach out to a coworker of mine. Her name is Danielle Heberlein, and I ask her to help me build a serverless application from scratch. And she said I needed to know what I wanted to build, so I had to take some time to think about it. And it was just after a trip after I went to Australia, and I was able to hang out with all these different AWS user group leaders, and I started to learn how language is such a barrier to so many to adopt new technologies. And I wondered if maybe Danielle and I could do something about that. Docs have been hard enough for me to read as it is. I can't imagine trying to do that in a different language. Danielle helped. She was in charge of all the architectural choices, all the tools used, and then for guiding me through the development. It was pretty amazing because we got our MVP out the door. There's still a ton of work to do. It only accepts plain text files for now, but we definitely learned a lot through the process. We also open source this project, which was a little bit scary. I was definitely worried to put myself out there. I was worried about what criticism we might receive. But this gave me the opportunity to not only learn about serverless, but I also had to learn more about the open source community. And I realized how many are putting themselves out there on a day-to-day basis. And I just can't imagine how much pressure that must be. So shout out to the contributors and maintainers. I appreciate what you do. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Colby for giving us our first contribution. It really felt good to see some activity on the project. Wins that I received after building serverless.io with Danielle. It was really fun to build a project that was meant to benefit our community. I loved working with Danielle side by side as we're both growing and leveling up our skills, learning more about the AWS services, learning more about AWS limitations. We're gaining broader understandings of like AWS Translate, finding out that it only processes 5,000 bytes at a time. And it's extremely hard to interpret what that error message is. And also, error messages are critical to troubleshooting. I didn't realize how important that was until after building that application. And then, we open sourced our very first project, and that, it felt really good to, put something out there for everyone to see. Climbing the serverless ladder, focusing on how I can provide value at work, how I can provide value in the community, has had an incredible effect on my career. In the past year, I really have been able to grow in really notable ways. First and foremost, my confidence has definitely grown. I am I'm confident when I'm talking with our partners, our customers about their projects, about their, the new developments they're working on. I understand the difference between, a refactor and, a lift and shift. I have a greater understanding of everything that goes into getting an application out the door. And it feels really good to feel effective when I'm speaking with customers, both internal and external, along with partners and teammates. I've gotten to speak all around the world. It's at Serverless Days events. I've been at Cardiff, Belfast. I've been in Berlin, in Australia. I was supposed to be in New Zealand, and I hope I still get to go when we can. I was able to experience all these new cultures, meeting new people, learning new ways of solving problems and challenges that others are facing. Learning more about myself and more about the world we live in, and it was something that I will never forget. I got to build an app with one of my teammates. But not just that, we also got to speak at 2 events together. One was on the main stage at Serverless Conf. We also spoke in the developer lounge at reInvent, creating those experience, with her after we built that project felt really, really good. But also, we have a lot of trust between the 2 of us now. I get to work with global leaders from around the world, people who inspire me, who support, who help amplify me, people that I'm grateful to call friends. We get to plan events to benefit the serverless community, meeting speakers and attendees all around the world. This is literally one of my favorite things that I get to do after being part of this community. I'm an AWS hero. Again, it's completely an honor to have been chosen for that. And again, I'm still trying to figure out why. But focusing on value, I've built skills. I've advanced in ways I've never dreamed possible. I've built an application. I've open sourced application. I'm saving time, hours in my week. I'm continuing to work on my website. I have the front end done. I have some updates that need to be made. But I want to create now. I'm working to create my homepage. What's currently in process is a serverless contact form. The next thing I want to do is a page counter, and then I probably need to figure out what my development workflow looks like. I think I have a lot to do. I've seen, so not just like my stories, like how I've grown in the serverless community, but I've also seen a lot of others too. So the Stackery team. This team, we are learning and we're growing together every step of the way. This team honestly inspires me to work harder every single day, and I'm grateful to have the team I have. Emily Shea, she's an AWS Partner Development Manager at AWS. She's been learning about building serverless applications. She has a website where she's built a Chinese vocab learning application, and she also writes about her journey and the steps that she's taken along the way. Branch Insurance, I really love talking to Joe about how he hires junior developers and levels up their skills and gets them to be full stack engineers. Lego Group has a number of, I've heard a number of stories from different people there, but one that was actually written and stood out to me was about a woman named Jane who joined she joined as an application engineer, and she had good web and JavaScript knowledge, but she was completely alien to AWS and serverless. She got tasked with refactoring a serverless service, and after 3 months of joining, she took that task, leveled up her skills, and she's now considered an architect. I think that's pretty awesome. So, inspired yet? Anybody else want to learn more? There's a ton of resources out there. Serverless Guru is a Portland, Oregon, friend. They're consulting. They're a consulting partner for AWS, but they also have a ton of free training online. They have blogs, tutorials, and videos. AWS Newbies, that's run by Hero, and she's the CEO of 24 Villages. Definitely check that out. There's a lot of great content there. She has newsletters, blog, ebooks. Senzu, created by Ant Stanley. Senzu is a platform that will be bringing leading experts to you for classroom-based training. I think 2 AWS heroes are coming up on the next one, Slobodan and Alexander. A cloud guru, no intro needed. Everybody knows what a cloud guru is. There's a place called a group called Cloud Seeders in Singapore, and that's run by Ivy Young and a few others. And they have a program that's focused specifically on helping women to level up with AWS services. And then Exam Pro has a ton of content if you're just wanting to learn to get certifications or just try to understand more about services. There's some free training there. I realize that there's a ton of other resources out there, and some of the ones that I listed are not serverless specific, but they definitely will help you to build other skills that will be important in your journey. And the serverless community is always here to help you, so please reach out to any of us. Thank you so much for having me, London. I was very happy to be here, and this was fun.
Thanks so much to all the speakers, and thank you everyone for your patience with the audio. If my audio is bad right now, sorry for the irony. But yeah, thank you to Quentin, to Velusua, and to Farrah, and all these talks are recorded, so you're able to go on YouTube and look back at them. We'll have another talk next month, and hopefully we'll figure out some of the audio issues by then. So we look forward to seeing you next month, and thank you for joining.